Well, it's the day after Storm Amy and somehow we've managed to survive. Still standing. Let's go and have a look. And we're all still fastened up. That's the board I just put there just to stop that sheet from flapping. Right, inside my den. Lights on. And here we are. Right. I'm just going to lower that down a bit. That sheet's been handy just to keep some of the wind out, but we should be able to see what we need to see. So we survived it then. We survived Storm Amy. The shelter is still erect. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to get on with removing this hull from the bottom of the boat. Cutting the steel out, it's not as easy as it looks, but we're getting there slowly. A job I need to do though as we're getting halfway through is these supports that are for the trim tabs, the hydraulic rams, that were never used. These were in the internal compartment, but these need to come off. They'll make it easy for me to get the welds off down here along the bottom. So let's do that now. So we managed to cut through. The issue we've got is this bottom bit because it's had a bit of plate extender, so it's been welded on that back edge and also welded on the front edge where the steel is. A little bit more challenging, but I'll just see if I can get the grinder in there. We don't necessarily have to preserve these. I did consider using those as the rams because they've never been used, but they're equally as corroded, so we might even have new steel.
Oh dear. Right, so that's off. That took most of the day. That was an absolute nightmare of a job. It's dark now outside, so I'm going to get packed up for tonight and get back tomorrow. So it's amazing just how much time some of these jobs actually take. Tomorrow's job then is I've got to finish getting the rest of that plate out. We'll be grinding the welds off down here where we've taken this reinforcement plate off at the bottom, grind those welds out and should release the plates. Hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, because I spent a lot of time on this, we'll have that plate out. That was quick. Well, for you anyway. Next day. So now that that's out, I've got to think about the next stage. And before we actually continue taking the bottom of the plate out, I want to start taking some of this out, this kind of bulkhead, because that bulkhead's not staying in place. And I'm just a little bit concerned if I start cutting away at this, we're going to lose a lot of the integrity of the boat. So I'm going to put an acro underneath these, just to give us some force upwards, just to hold the boat in the correct position from the floor. And then I feel reassured that when I cut this out, just here, because I'm leaving this bit in so that we keep the rudder stocks in the right place for now, but I can cut this out and then I can start rebuilding with proper frame material. Right, that's the plan anyway. Let's get some acros. That's the puppy. So now we're buckled in and we can take some more of this meat out of here, allow me to get to that bottom plate easier and allow us to rebuild stuff. Out of breath. Well, it's been a non-productive 3 weeks, to be honest with you. Although it has been productive, we've done a lot, but we've not got very far in the last 3 weeks. The last 3 days have been the least productive. I've spent 3 days getting to this, and that's cutting the back out, getting to the hull, partly cut out. We are cut out down here. We cut out down here, and we're almost ready to release it from these ribs. And then the plate should drop out, but and the rudder stock, of course, that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll just cut wide around there, and then afterwards we can just grind back. Now, on our comments, we get lots of good advice, and we get lots of advice that's not so good. And some of the not so good advice that I got recently was to remove the guard from the grinder, because that way should find it a little bit easier to get around things. Well, when I read that advice, I thought that's not good advice, and I ignored it until yesterday. And I thought, do you know what? It's getting a bit awkward now moving the grinder guard and getting around things. I'm going to remove the guard. And it turns out that grinders give you 2 warnings and then they bite you. So this was the first warning, and this was the second warning, and I ignored both of them, so it bit me. Anyway, my advice to you is, first of all, ignore not so good advice that we do anyway, and never take the guard off your grinder. I think those are words to live by. Anyway, and to keep things toasty warm in here, bought myself one of those little cheap Chinese diesel heaters. Look at that. Let's get that out. Alright. Cheap and cheerful. There's some assembly to do. That's boring. Oh God. You've even got to wire up the power. That means it doesn't work on the mains. Well, that's shit. Let's go remote control. Simon Robbins. Right, so that means for the money I've saved, it's going to cost me more sorting out the battery. Got Rachel with me today to come and muck me out because she says I made a mess. So first job though, it's chilly today, so I've got to get this new heater running. Just waiting for the battery to charge up for the heater. We're bloody freezing, so we've come back on board so we can get the heater running. But I've got to get a job done while we're in here anyway, so hopefully we'll get the cabin warmed up. It's very dusty in here, so I'm in a lot of trouble. But I've also got to get under the galley floor again to try and plumb in this water. Oh, that took some getting up. Oh, some water in the bottom of here. Right, in here somewhere is the water inlet pipe. That's where the fresh water goes, so let's just cut it about here. Maybe we should get some of this water out. Run after it then. And on here there's some insulation, so I'm going to try and use this just to pierce the insulation, and so we can clean up the copper pipe beneath. Oh dear, wrong size pipe. So that looks like it's 20 mil. Is it 20 or 22? I can never remember the standard sizes. This is a 15 mil fitting. So cocked up there. I've got to find a way of reducing that. I'll go and have a look in my bits and pieces. Right, so I've cocked up a little bit. Where is it? In my pocket. As you probably heard when I was in those bilges, the bowels of the boat. I thought it was a 15 mil pipe, and it's not. So I've got a 15 mil fitting. So I'm wondering if I've got the gear to go from whatever it is. Is it 20 mil, 22 mil? I don't know, I'm no plumber. But the next size up, down to 15. Let's have a look. I've got a load of plumbing stuff in here. Oh, some kind of a natural reducer there, but no, that's from 15 down to even smaller. Oh, I thought I'd won. That's a shame. Ah, 22 mil, 15 mil. Hep 2O. Right, let's just open this. Ooh, that tastes a bit shabby. Probably come from my hands. That should, speed fit should go onto the pipe. Then that should go on to 15 mil pipe. Do I have 15 mil pipe? Because I need to connect those two together. I think I know how to solve the problem though. Now somewhere I had that copper pipe that I cut out the back of this boat. I've just had a quick look for it, but I think it's already gone to the tip. So I've just had a look. I think I can cut a little bit more of it off, and we can use that. That should do the job. Right, there's the pipe. Should be able to cut a section off that.
Everything I do at the moment involves that finger or that finger. I can't grip anything properly. There she is, comes with a hole in the hull. I'll just chop a bit of this manky stuff off and then attach a fitting. Ow! Finger. Okay, tap off, tap on. Right, connect the outside. Think quick. Is that a cat asleep on the roof of that boat in this cold? It's not moved. Oh, it has, look. Oh my God, why would you want to sleep on top of there?
Because I can't go in our boat.
The freezing cold. Yeah, we've evicted him. Cat's been evicted. That's our cat burglar. Oh, well, looks comfy.
Must be warm.
Right, let's make sure the boat's not flooded. Right, we don't seem to be leaking. You can't see all of it for that map, but I'm not getting down there, it smells. Right, I'm going to put the pump on, if I can remember which breaker it is, and we'll see if we've got any water coming out the taps. In the dark, I cannot remember which it is. It's a 24-volt system, so we switch that on. 24-volt system's on. No, oh, drinking water. There. Let's see if the pump gets up to pressure. We need to turn some taps on. We need to try and let some air out.
No air in that one.
No. Now we need bathroom. The shower.
I nearly fell down. Oh!
Well, why are you turning Hoover on rage?
Oh!
Shower's on.
That was on.
Right, that's hot. No, that's cold.
Cold.
Stick it on hot. Oh, pump's gone off. So, we've got water again. All I need to do now is put the hot water calorifier or whatever you call it on. Bit dark in here. Yeah, there's a calorifier or immersion heater, whatever you like to call it. We'll see if the water gets hot. Right, I've had that battery on charge for a while. I don't know whether there's enough charge in it yet. There wasn't earlier, but let's just see if it does anything. I'm going to have a sit down and hope it starts and gets us warm. It's making a clicking noise. Well, that's kicking out some heat, that's for sure. Right, toasty warm now, kicking some heat out. I need to shift it though, because at the moment we're just going to fill the den up with exhaust fumes, but the diesel heater works. That's good news. That's going to help us no end. I'll probably put it down on the floor down here with the exhaust going through to the outside. A quick shout out then to some of those who decided to join Patreon, Coffee or our YouTube members as Super Legends. Michael Swain, Super Legend. Bob D, Super Legend. Miniman, Super Legend. Okay, so grinders. I've been using a DeWalt grinder. But I've also been using the Diamond Disc. Really like the Diamond Disc in some respects. It never changes its size, so you're not forever ending up with small discs that don't reach where you want them to go. And you don't have to change the disc every 5 minutes like you do with aluminium oxide. The disadvantage is that it's nowhere near as fast. It cuts much slower. The only time you can get it to cut fast is if you put a little bit of pressure on it. But when you put pressure on it, these diamond discs are very grabby, a lot of friction, and they make the grinder hot, and the grinder cuts out. And my grinder's no pussycat, it's 950 watts, so it's reasonable. But I've had to go out and get myself something a little bit chunkier. So the DeWalt grinder that's 1400 watts is about £167. That's quite expensive. So we decided to go for Bosch Blue, which is Bosch Professional. And as I said, that's what makes me a professional. It's the tools I own. So because I've got a professional grinder, that means I really am a professional. But anyway, I've got this Bosch. This is 1400 watts and it only cost £102. So a little bit cheaper than the DeWalt. Let's see how it goes. People tell me these are quite good. Let's give that a go. Whoa, I think that's going to do for nowish. It's 7:30 and it's Thursday night and I've got to go home and get changed, and then I've got to take all this stuff that I've been doing all week, stick it together in a video for 5:30 on Friday. That's tomorrow. So I think I'm going to have to stop there. I haven't done quite as much as I'd hoped. It's been arduous work and hard going, but we're getting there bit by bit. Let me quickly show you what we've done and what's left to do. So we've cut the plate out the bottom there. We're half cut out this last section here, and we cut out here too. So I'm going to come back on Saturday and get going with removing this, and then we've got to start cleaning up the steel, because we've cut the steel out, but we've got some grinding to do to release the welds off the bottom. And then when we've got all this cleaned up, we can start splicing in new T-section to come back to the new stern of the boat. But that's likely to be in next week's video. In the meanwhile, thanks to everybody. Thanks for watching. Please do give us a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. When you've given us a thumbs up, click that hype button too. The more of those that get clicked, the better this video does. Thanks to all the Patreons and the coffee supporters and the YouTube members and people that have bought from Amazon wishlist, and everybody that's contributed, whether that's just watching the videos or giving us a thumbs up or subscribing. To each and every one of you, thank you very, very much, because you've really given us the motivation that we need to continue to mess around with this rusty old tub and to try and get us sorted out and back on the water. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Say you love me, say you don't. Just give me something so I can move on.